The San Jose Sharks offense is sleepless in Salt Lake City as they lose 2-1 to the now rival. We're calling them a rival, Utah Hockey Club.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, caretaker of the Reef, also the co-host of Locked On NHL on Tuesdays with Seth. I want to thank you for joining me on a live edition of Locked On Sharks, part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everyday, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch on YouTube as well. And again, we're doing this live Friday night. Today, we're going to be talking about the Sharks offense just struggle bus against Utah. They need a name. We're going to be talking about that. Look at the numbers behind this game. Talk about the budding rivalry between the Utah Hockey Club and the San Jose Sharks. And we'll answer some of your questions here again as we're doing this live tonight. So if you are watching live, go ahead, just drop your questions in the chat and we'll answer a bunch of those at the end of the show as we typically do. So let's start with the big takeaway from this game. And that has to be the Sharks offense, which was anemic, I think is the nicest way to describe them. The offense was basically non-existent tonight, right? The Sharks scored 58 seconds into this game, and then that was about it for the offense because it was just a struggle. They could not generate offense, and typically we're going to look at the numbers a little bit more, but in a little bit. But when you get 3 shots on goal in the second period, not going to win a lot of games that way. And I know Utah only got 6 shots on goal in that period, but just struggle for the Sharks to get any offense going in this game. And I think that has to be the biggest takeaway is this team needs to try to figure out a way to generate more offense. And we saw the Lions get all jumbled up tonight. One, with Klim Kostin leaving the game and not returning with a lower body injury, but 2, just they spend so much time in their own zone, and it was a lot of just losing races, losing puck battles, losing stuff like that. And you had a couple opportunities and you just weren't really able to kind of capitalize on your opportunities. And then even at the end of the game, right, when you're down a goal with a minute and a half, you get a 4-minute power play, thanks to William Macklin taking one for the team there. And the power play there, just like Will Smith's got to do something with it other than just kind of pass the puck. And that's going to be a learning moment for him of just like, it's better just to take the shot on goal, right? Because either the goalie's going to stop it and there's going to be a rebound, or he's going to cover it and you're just going to get another face-off draw. Like there's just too many positive things that happen if you just shoot the puck instead of just kind of screwing around with it. I think that was kind of one of the frustrating things, was just the inability to be decisive, I guess, with the puck there when you did have an opportunity. And that's going to be a big learning moment for a guy like Will Smith, who I'm sure in a couple of years he'll be great in that moment, right? But tonight was where you kind of saw those growing pains from a young player. So this is not the Will Smith, we're going to bash on Will Smith. It's just, again, like you want to see those type of moments there. It's good that he gets an opportunity there, but you'd like to see him do a little bit more, just be a little bit more decisive with it. And then he kind of gets pressured and the puck ends up out of the zone. And then they basically lose the game there, or not able to get another really quality chance there. But like it doesn't come down to that though, right? It's this whole game where they're just, basically, if it wasn't the Lund line generating, it was nothing really going on tonight for the Sharks. And hopefully we get some good news with Jake Wallman coming back, because I think that would help alleviate a lot of the Sharks' issues of just, again, getting the puck from point A to point Z or point B in their own, like out of their zone. It's been a struggle right now. So yeah, I'm yeah, it was frustrating, but some positive stuff though. Alexandar Georgiev, I thought looked really good tonight. I think both the goals was kind of was a little bit of defensive lapses from the forwards where they're not kind of staying on their guy, but Georgiev made some big saves tonight, and that's 2 games in a row there. I think he has strung together a couple of quality games here for the Sharks, and that's good news, right? Because you either A, want to try to flip them for something else, or B, you just want to be able to have some confidence when you're playing Georgiev and it's not, you're basically anybody other than Askarov, you have some confidence that at least you can get like mediocre to goodish goaltending at points. And I think Georgiev was really good tonight for San Jose. And, that he didn't face a ton of shots. So like not the most like impressive numbers tonight, but he made some quality saves when he needed to. And, I think it's just a positive sign for Georgiev, who, he made 23 saves on 25 shots, was 9 for 9 on high danger shots. Like, I think Georgiev made some solid saves, and that's what you want to see out of him. Can he string together some good games here? And he's strung together 2, right? What's the saying? 3 and you're on a streak. So if he can play another good game in his next game, which I assume will be probably Tuesday. But yeah, that's good. That's the positive stuff. And Sharks might have a new rivalry with Utah, which I did not have on my bingo card this year. But these teams do not like each other for some reason. And you can see the way, especially the way Utah plays, where they are very much like, we're going to play up to the whistle and maybe a little bit past the whistle. They Kevin Stenlund was basically hard match to Macklin Celebrini. And we've seen that basically in every game that they've played together, where as soon as Celebrini goes out there, Stenlund's going out there and using his, 6'5" gigantism against Macklin Celebrini. And that's going to be something Celebrini is going to have to, teams are going to try to be physical with Celebrini, as you would expect against an 18-year-old teenager. But I think for the Sharks, it's going to be how do you counter that, right? And the Sharks, not the biggest guys among the forward group, right? You have Eklund, who's 5'10", you have Granlund, who's 5'10". They don't have a ton of big guys yet. So I think that is going to might be something. Try to go get a big skilled power forward type of player this offseason and maybe try to help mitigate that while you wait for your Haltonens and your Musties and some of your other big bodied forwards to try to kind of navigate through their development here. But I'm not saying go get a enforcer slow, a Ryan Reeves, who plays 5 minutes a night, but getting a bigger forward who can play with Celebrini and kind of help take the pressure off. So that way, when you do get these hard matchups against a Stenlund or these other bigger guys, maybe make Celebrini's life a tiny bit easier. So, yeah, we do need a rivalry, right? And Vegas has, forever been the Shark quote unquote rivals, but you have to at least be competitive against them. The Sharks have been competitive against Vegas basically since Game 7. It seems like Utah and San Jose, yes, Utah's a little bit ahead in their in their kind of rebuild and their development and stuff like that, but it feels like can see the world where both these teams are kind of competing against each other in big moments here, and this could be a nice rivalry, hopefully developing, which would be fun. Again, we've had a lot of nothing really lately, so having a rival and a budding rival in Utah, that would be really fun. So yeah, I'm happy to see some sort of rivalry here. So We're going to continue. We're going to dig into the numbers and we're going to answer your questions. If you guys do have questions, please drop them in the chat. I'm already seeing some come in and we'll get to some of those here in a little bit. Apparently people do not like Warsofsky. You guys are crazy. Ryan Warsofsky is a good coach. You guys are crazy if you to trying to fire Ryan Warsofsky already. So we'll answer some of your questions here in just 1 second. If you want to have a good time this weekend, especially with NFL playoffs, you need to check out FanDuel because the NFL playoffs are better with FanDuel. Because right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. There's $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. This FanDuel app gives you everything you need for live bets, same game parlays, and so much more. I love the Bills this weekend. I know it's like 8.5 points right now. I don't care. I think Josh Allen's going to score a bajillion touchdowns. And I think the Bills are going to romp the Broncos. Bo Nix, last time I checked, rookie on the road in Buffalo. Don't have a good feeling about that for them. I just think the Bills are really good. So I'm taking the Bills. I don't care about the points. I think they romp. So visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make this playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, let's continue this live edition of Locked On Sharks. Let's dig into the numbers of this game and kind of going back to like just how poor the offense was for the Sharks in this game. So we had about 54 minutes of 5-on-5 time. Shot attempts were 60-32 in favor of Utah. Actual shots on goal, 23-16. Scoring chances, 23-18. And then 10-6 high danger chances, all in favor of Utah, of course. 2.56 to 1.36 expected goals for. The second period was extremely horrendous for the Sharks, where they had five shot attempts in 18 minutes of 5-on-5. Hard to win hockey games when you take 5 shot attempts. And yes, they got a couple of them on goal, but still, like when you have a 0.12 expected goals for with 5 shot attempts, the offense was just struggling tonight. So whether again, and I think Utah did a really good job of kind of keeping the Sharks from carrying the puck in the zone, which is what I think they prefer to do. And Utah did a good job of that. And it wasn't kind of until a little bit later where the Sharks were just kind of trying to dump it in and be a little bit more just dump and chase type of team, especially kind of middle of the third period. But that second period was absolutely brutal for the Sharks. And luckily for the Sharks, Utah didn't do much in terms of offense themselves, as they had 0.32 expected goals for with 18 shot attempts and like only 6 actual shots on goal from them at 5-on-5. But I think that second period was definitely the story of the Sharks and just their offense just unable to get into gear in this game. So as for the forward lines, they're going to be a little bit all over the place because, again, with Klim Kostin out, they definitely jumbled the lines. And then Ryan Warsofsky trying to find some offense in the third period. The Lund line played 10-49, 8-10 shot attempts, 5-5 actual shots, did have a goal, 0.4 to 0.27 expected goals for, 5-4 scoring chances, and 2-2 high danger chances for that line. Pretty solid. Like they were easily the best line tonight for San Jose. And basically, if they weren't doing anything, the Sharks really weren't doing anything. We had Smith, Celebrini, and Cunnin. So Cunnin playing up there instead of Colin Graff. They played 906, 5-9 shot attempts, 3-3 actual shots, 0.14 to 0.3 expected goals for, 3-3 scoring chances, and 2-2 high danger chances for that line. We saw again, right? You see some Celebrini flashes, you see some Will Smith flashes, but they kind of make some stuff happen. It's that line has just really struggled to find some consistency here. And I wonder if we might see the end of the Celebrini Smith experiment for a little bit, right? As the Sharks are trying to find some offense here. And they that we put them together. They provided some offense. Now it seems like it may not be working. Wouldn't be surprised if we see something new on Saturday against the Wild. And especially if maybe we saw at the end of the game, Smith was playing up with with Eklund and Zetterlund. Maybe, Eklund and Granlund. Maybe we see Zetterlund dropping down with Celebrini, and you try to find like somebody else to play with them. Like, wouldn't be surprised if we see a little bit of a change up here because I think that line has started to show some cracks in it. So Toffoli, Wenberg, Graf played 430. 2 to 5 shot attempts, 1 to nothing actual shots, 0.09 to 0.09 expected goals for, 2 to 2 scoring chances, 0-0 high danger chances. Really didn't see anything much from that line, to be honest. It felt, I don't want to say invisible, but it felt like they could have made a little bit more of an impact tonight. But that line a little quiet tonight, so which is not what you want to see. And then we had Costin, Dellinger, Barkley, Goodrow played 246, 0 to 4 shot attempts, 0 to 2 actual shots, 0 expected goals for to 0.16. But again, that line kind of got blown up here. Interesting, we did see Zetterlund, Celebrini, Toffoli play 230. They had 5 shot attempts, 4-5 against, 1 to 3 actual shots, 0.02 to 0.63. So there was that line did not do too much in that time. So, but yeah, I think I would not be surprised if we see the blender massively come out for the Sharks against the Wild, who are missing a lot of players. I'm not predicting like this. I still think it's a very tough game. This Wild team is very good, but they are missing some of their top players. So Georgiev, 23 saves on 25 shots. Like I said before, 2 goals, expected goals against 307. So good to see there. 920 save percentage, 202 goals against average, 9 for 9 on high danger, 2 for 4 on mid danger, and 11-11 on low danger saves. So I think Georgiev played, like I said earlier, I think Georgiev played really well tonight. There's not really too much that you could fault him against. I know the Sharks gave up. They had the waved off goal, but that was clearly goalie interference there, and there wasn't really too much he could do in there. And I'm glad the Sharks challenged that. I'm glad they got it right because Georgiev deserved better on that play. But like, other than that second goal against Vegas, Georgiev's played quietly pretty well. And again, maybe, hopefully, with some, little bit more rest between games, not playing a bajillion games like he did in Colorado, we could see some improvements from Georgiev here. The defensive pairs, not a great night for any of them there. The Muk Mullan and Ruda led the way with Corsi at 40%. And again, when you're getting outshot so heavily in 5-on-5 at almost 2-1, 60-32, none of the courses is going to look good. So I did like Muk Mullan's game, though, tonight. I think he just quietly kind of stringing together really nice games. Muk Mullan and Ruda, though, led the way at 40%. Thren Ceci, 36.36%. And then Farrar Liljegren at 26.67%. So, this was a very low event hockey game here because it just was. So, we're going to answer some of your questions here. So if you're watching live, go ahead and drop them in the chat here and we'll start to answer them, including apparently Ryan Warsofsky is the worst coach ever coaching apparently or something. I don't know. We'll get to some of the Sharks questions here in just 1 second. If you want to go to the tank to go see the Sharks player, maybe you want to go to Chase Center, go to the Warriors game or whatever live event where you need tickets, you need to check out Game Time. Game Time has made it even easier to get tickets to your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. We used it recently to go see the Sharks Flames. You got to see Askarov do cool Askarov things as the Sharks offense also struggled to score goals in that game. It was a great experience. Was able to go with my father-in-law. Nice Christmas time, right after Christmas. Great. Game Time made it super easy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL, LOCKEDON NHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. All right, let's get into some of your questions and comments and such. And honestly, Macklin needs to be line one. Coach needs to be fired. Dislike. There's a couple Ryan Warsofsky question. Like, what do you guys expect? Like, this roster is still really bad. And you're also like, you traded away your best goalie. You have you've got like 1,000 fourth liner guys and like Granlund, or not Granlund, like in Goodrow and Cunnin and like Delandria and Grunstrom. And this team is just way better than they were last year. I mean, yes, the floor, the bar is below the floor, but like, I really like Warsofsky, and I like the way he treats young players, where he'll hold them accountable, but he gives them an opportunity to kind of earn their spot back. You know, you look at like Zetterlund and Eklund, who both spent a little bit of time on the fourth line, but puts them back in an opportunity. The Sharks are just way more competitive. Like, go watch the David Quinn games last year. Like, the Sharks are getting blown out from the get-go, and this team is they're just talent poor right now. Like, I think the like calls to fire Ryan Warsofsky after half a season with this roster are like insane. You're seeing improvement from this team, and you're seeing your young players get experience and learn, you know, like kind of, I like Macklin Celebrini. He's had a great season. Right. Will Smith. Yes, Will Smith has plenty of issues, right? And we knew it was going to be a rocky season, but Will Smith earning opportunities compared to what he was earlier this year. Like, there's a plan for them. I think Ryan Warsofsky's done a great job of just, again, making this team a much more competitive night in night. And they said it on the broadcast, this team's lost like 20 games now that are like close games, or it's like 1-goal games, or like 1-goal games with less than 5 minutes left to play. And that right there usually comes down to just a talent deficiency of, they just don't have enough talented players to compete with some of those teams. And once your younger and more talented players become more talented, they're going to start winning some of these games. So I think trying, like, firing, like, you could have, I don't care, you could have basically any other, like, you could have pick your coach. Like, they're not getting much more out of this roster than what they have. This is just, it's a talent poor roster, and that's part of a rebuild right now. As with Macklin Celebrini being like line one, maybe, but I think, like I just mentioned, I think there's going to be some changes here to try to maybe get Celebrini going here. And it's also, we could be just hitting that rookie wall, right? It's, you know, what, game 35 for Celebrini. He's used to playing 45-ish in college. Like, he could just be kind of hitting a little bit of a wall here, which is fine. Colin asks, Smith seems to have a bit of bad luck bouncing pucks and good looks, just can't find the net. Do you think he sits out tomorrow for development day? Potentially, but I do think the Sharks, like, if you look at the roster right now, I think they're kind of also running out of bodies at the moment, right? Especially with Costin out, Grunstrom's on IR. Like, they could do it. I think they need bodies right now, and Will Smith is a healthy body. So wouldn't be surprised though if we see some more struggles from Smith, especially if there's some lineup changes, if maybe he gets a development day here on the road trip. But yeah, I think they need bodies right now, compared, like, especially with Costin leaving this game right now, and Kovalenko not making the trip, and like, they have a ton of forward, like, that are hurt right now. So all right, let's see. Not really tonight's game, but I've seen a lot on a contending Sharks team to Celebrini or Smith get Musty as their winger. I think Musty, I would put Musty and Smith, because we've already seen that chemistry between those two. I know it's development camp and stuff like that, but I think their games play off each other really, really well. And I think, like, if you have Quentin Musty and, you know, Quentin Musty becomes who we think Quentin Musty is going to be, and Will Smith as like your second line, you're gonna be crushing teams. Like that is gonna be such a huge advantage for you with those. So let's see. Definitely should get to Foley back with Celebrini. Should we get the 70 lines back? A couple of those questions. I think I wouldn't be mad at it. Like I do think we need to try to see something a little bit different here. And I wouldn't be surprised. Like I was very much on the Smith and Celebrini should play together. We've gotten a good kind of sample size. I think those guys maybe let's split them up now, see if we can maybe kind of find some lightning in the bottle here and try to generate some offense. We've seen Toffoli and Celebrini play really well. I wouldn't even be mad at that 70s line again, like playing really like put back together. But excuse me. Yeah, I think there's going to have to be some sort of something coming together. So someone I'm listening to the Barracuda game right now. Michael says I'm listening to the Barracuda game right now, and it's going to the game tomorrow in Bakersfield. Whereas Goosh, I know he's hurt. I think it's an upper body injury considered day to day. He was potential for this weekend, so we'll see if he's back tomorrow or not. But yeah, you never know. Like Barracuda, like AHL injuries, it's always hard to find something. So let's see. Muk Mullan. So Colin asks, Muk Mullan had a solid game. Does Pickles get back in tomorrow? Honestly, Pickles looked good in his first two games. Potentially, I would rather keep Muk Mullan in because, again, I think Muk Mullan needs to play games. Muk Mullan, yes, Pickles looked great. It's good to see Pickles back, but Vlasic's going to be like your seventh defenseman, basically, unless they need to sit Muk Mullan or sit somebody, or somebody gets hurt or traded. I think Vlasic's just kind of the seventh defenseman right now. But yeah. Time to bring up Scott Sabrin, Costin Bling. The Barracuda don't have enough healthy bodies. They're playing 11-7 tonight, so they don't even have enough bodies to send anybody out right there. But I do love me some Scott Sabrin. I don't know why. I love that man, Scott Sabrin. So are there any trades out there where Sharks move their first for something to help Matt? No, do not trade. You're going to be having a top 4 pick in this draft. No. This is a 4-person draft. You do not move that pick. Do not trade that pick. Don't trade down. Don't trade. No. That pick is gold. You're getting whatever you're getting for there is probably going to be your last like big time piece, right? Because if you think about the Sharks and kind of where this is kind of heading, right, is this draft, you're going to basically the Eklund draft through the 2025 draft, right? And you're going to have pieces of the 2020 draft, of course, with Muk Mullan and Askarov, but the Eklund draft, the 2021 draft through the 2025 draft, you're going to have Eklund. I know B said was a late first round pick, but then you're going to have Smith, Busty, Celebrini, Dickinson, and player whatever you get right now. Those guys are going to be your core pieces going forward, right? That is going to be it. Those are going to be your upper crust. These are your best players, hopefully, that your homegrown talent. I think because the hope is this offseason, you're going to have a bunch of cap space. You're going to sign some players. Will Smith's going to get better. Eklund's going to get better. Everyone's going to get better, right? Askarov's going to be playing full-time next year. Like, hopefully they revamp the defensive core. Like, you're going to start to see growth from this team. And then instead of picking in the top 5, you're probably picking 10 through 12. And then you're flirting with the playoffs. And then, so like, I'm not trading this pick because getting one of these 4 players, whether it's Hagens, Schaefer, Martone, Misa, and we have plenty of time we have 6 months basically to try to figure out who it should be. I'm getting one of those guys, and I think that's going to be my last awesome piece of the core. And then you can start to, and then we start getting mid first round picks. Okay. Then you can kind of look at guys, how do they fit going forward, and start kind of plugging some holes here and there and stuff like that. But I am not either. It would take a lot for me to trade that, because I think getting a young player on an ELC that you're going to have cost controlled basically for the next bajillion years, that fits with everything that you're doing right now, especially if you get like a Schaefer who probably could play in the NHL next year. Like that's too important for me. So all right, well, it's out of a couple questions. Martona Schaefer, personally Schaefer, like again, Schaefer's pretty sweet. I know he's got the broken collarbone. I don't care about a broken collarbone. Like I'll take a broken bone. If a guy's can get hurt, I'm taking a broken bone over than like ligaments or something like that. And especially a collarbone, like I'll take that over. Yeah. Plenty, like over anything with the knees or ankles or something like that. Even like a hand injury. Like I think that is the if you have to pick an injury, I think I'll take a collarbone over everything else. So Victor says it wouldn't hurt to get them one pick this year, then start going up from there. Jay's prediction: the Sharks' big games to be close this season. Still a lot of one goal line. Again, that's all you can ask for, right? The Sharks, the perfect stealth tank. Be more competitive and still lose a bunch of games. And the Sharks are 2 points out from the Blackhawks, who have 2 games in hand from being number 1 right now. So going into it. So that's going to be it for me on this live edition. Thank you guys for hanging out on your Friday night. We'll be back for a recap of the Wild game. So check out probably Sunday night for that. And then we'll check in on the Barracuda and all the usual kind of weekend stuff. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. If you're watching the live and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, like the video, all that fun stuff. Or you can check out the show wherever you get podcasts. Follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. Follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky at My Fry Hole. Until Sunday night, Monday. Bye, friends.